My name is Noah Foster. I am 12 years old, and if I had understood what adults really mean when they smile too much, I would have known something was wrong. Before we even left Vermont, the drive to Connecticut took 4 hours of the old rock station, playing songs Dad says were written by people who meant what they said. My little sister Ellie sat in the back seat, reading the same book. She always reads about a girl with red hair and big feelings. I kept asking if we were there yet, because my Uncle Reed lived in a mansion, and I had never been to one before. Dad drove the whole way like he always does, hands steady, eyes alert. He wore his usual clothes, the soft blue shirt, the khakis, the brown shoes he claims only feel right after years of walking. Mom sat beside him, wearing her pearl earrings, the ones passed down through generations. She always wears them when something matters. Ellie wore a pink dress Mom found at a little shop that smelled like paper and time. I wore my favorite polo shirt and pants that felt too stiff. We all looked nice, just not loud nice. When we turned into the driveway, I stopped talking. The house rose in front of us, white and glowing like something unreal. Tall columns, bright windows, cars lined up like a display, black silver polished. Our car looked like it had accidentally wandered into the wrong life. I felt excited and embarrassed at the same time. That was new. People filled the lawn, laughing, holding glasses, speaking softly and sharply all at once. The air smelled sweet and sharp like money. Mom squeezed my hand. That squeeze meant stay close. A woman with a clipboard stopped us. She smiled without warmth, asked for our names. When Mom answered, her eyes flicked like she was checking something off in her head. She said, "Follow me." She led us past the center of the party, past the bright lights, past the music, past my uncle. I saw Uncle Reed laughing with people who looked like they never worried about anything. He did not look at us. Not once. We were seated near a door where servers kept rushing in and out. The music sounded far away. The light was dim. I could see the kitchen. This felt like the place you put people you do not want noticed. I asked Mom why we were sitting there. She said it was fine. Her voice was bright. Her eyes were not. Dad stayed quiet, but I noticed how he sat angled just enough to see everything I have seen. That look before it is the look he gets when he is measuring something important. Then my uncle's fiancée came over. Her dress shimmered like it wanted attention. Her smile looked practiced. She talked to Mom like Mom was something she needed to explain to others. She talked to Dad like he might disappear. Ignored. She looked at Ellie and said her dress was sweet, but her voice made sweet sound small. I felt hungry. I asked about food. She said the food might not be right for me. She suggested something simpler, something easier. That was the moment something shifted. I did not have words for it, but I felt it. Like the room tilted, like Dad became very still. Everyone was smiling. No one was yelling. But I knew this night was changing, because my dad does not argue. He does not shout. He does not embarrass people. He waits. And when my dad waits, it means someone somewhere is about to lose something they thought was theirs. I stayed in my chair, but my eyes kept moving, watching the people with shiny clothes and quiet laughter. They did not look at us much. When they did, it felt like they were looking past us. My sister Ellie leaned close to Mom. She always does that when she feels unsure. Mom put her arm around her without saying anything. Dad leaned back, one arm resting on the table, the other tapping, once, then stopping. That was how I knew he was thinking. The party kept going, like we were not there. Servers rushed by carrying food that smelled amazing, small, perfect bites. None of them came our way. I asked Dad when we would eat. He smiled at me and said, "Soon, buddy." His smile was calm, but tight. Then the woman came back, my uncle's fiancée. Her heels clicked loud against the floor. She smelled like flowers, and something sharp. She crouched in front of me, smiling. She said my name slowly, like she was tasting it. Then she said the food might be too fancy for kids like me, that my taste buds were probably not trained, yet I did not know what that meant. But I knew it was not nice. She said maybe the kitchen could make something easier, something kids like us are used to. She smiled again. Mom stood up. Her voice was quiet. She said, "No thank you, we eat together." The woman smiled less after that. She stood up straight and looked around like she wanted people to hear. She said, "Kids need guidance, that some environments can be overwhelming if you are not prepared for them." I did not understand all of it, but I knew she was talking about us like we were something messy that needed to be managed. Dad did not speak. He just watched her after she left. I felt different, not excited anymore, just tired. Ellie asked if we could go home. Mom asked what happened. Ellie whispered about girls by the bathroom, older girls. They laughed at her shoes, said they looked old, asked if we got them for free. I felt heat rush to my face. I wanted to find them. I wanted to yell. Mom held Ellie's hand. Dad did not move, but something in him changed. Then the woman came back louder, this time asking if everything was okay. People near by started watching. Ellie said the girls were mean. The woman looked at Ellie's shoes. Then she smiled. That smile was different, satisfied. She said, "Kids here are raised differently, that they have higher standards, that being around wealth takes practice." She said maybe next time we should dress better, prepare better so things would not be awkward. I felt like everyone was staring at us, like we were on display. Mom looked frozen. I had never seen her like that. Then Dad stood up. It was quiet, not loud, quiet, heavy quiet. He did not say anything at first. He just stood tall, still. Everyone noticed. He looked at Mom. She nodded. Dad helped Ellie out of her chair. Then me. He said we were leaving. The woman smiled. She said that was probably best. She said this was her house after all, that she had an image to protect. That word, her house. I saw Dad smile, just a little. Then Uncle Reed came rushing over, confused, sweaty, asking why we were leaving. The woman spoke for us, said we were uncomfortable, that we did not fit the vibe. Uncle Reed apologized, said maybe we should rest. He looked tired. Dad said nothing. We started walking toward the door. The woman called after us, said maybe next time she could help with clothes, said it loudly so others could hear. Dad stopped walking. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his phone, and that was the moment I realized something important. This was not the end of the night. This was the beginning of something. My uncle and his fancy house were not ready for. Dad held his phone like it weighed nothing. He did not rush. He did not look angry. That was the scariest part. Everyone waited. The music faded. Even the laughing stopped. The woman asked what he was doing. Her voice sounded tight, now not shiny. Dad looked past her toward my uncle. He said, "Reed, can you come here a moment?" My uncle looked confused. He glanced at the woman, then at the crowd, then walked over. Dad said, "This is about the house." I saw my uncle's face change, like someone had pulled the floor out from under him. He laughed a little, said, "What house?" Dad asked if he remembered the lease, the company name. My uncle rubbed his forehead, said he did not remember, said he signed papers through an agent. Dad nodded like that was expected. He turned his phone toward my uncle, asked him to read. My uncle leaned closer. His lips moved, then his face went pale. He read words out loud about frozen rent, about exceptions, about charity adjustments. I did not understand everything, but I understood the silence. It was thick, heavy. The woman stopped smiling. Dad explained calmly that the house cost more than my uncle paid, that the difference was covered, that it had been covered for years. People around us leaned in, pretending not to listen, listening anyway. My uncle shook his head, said he could afford it, that he made good money. Dad said good money is not the same as rich. He said some people live just one step ahead of the truth. The woman looked like she could not breathe. Her hands shook, her glass slipped it. Shattered on the floor. No one moved. Dad said he would not renew the lease, that there would be 30 days, that everything was legal clear. I saw my uncle's face fall apart, not like crying, like something inside him broke. Dad said he was not doing this to be cruel. He said it was time for honesty. He said something I will never forget. He said real class is how you treat people when you think they cannot help you. No one spoke. Dad took my hand. Then Ellie's mom followed. People stepped out of the way. No one looked at us. Outside, the air felt cold and clean like freedom. Ellie asked if we were rich. Dad smiled, said wealth is knowing who you are. As we walked away, I looked back. The house still glowed, but it did not look powerful anymore. It looked borrowed. And that was when I realized some people do not lose everything in one moment. They lose it when the truth finally walks in. We walked across the driveway together. Our footsteps sounded louder than they should have. The night air wrapped around us, cool and honest. Dad unlocked the car, the old reliable one, the one with scratches and stories. It felt better than the glowing house behind us. As we drove away, the mansion stayed bright in the mirror, but it did not feel warm anymore. It felt like a stage after the play ends. Ellie leaned her head against the seat, quiet. Now the night had tired her out. I watched the road, my thoughts buzzing. I asked Dad if Uncle Reed would be okay. Dad said yes, but not right away. He said sometimes losing comfort is the only way people learn who they are. Mom stayed quiet, but she squeezed his hand. We drove for a while without talking. Then Ellie asked why Dad did not say anything sooner, why he waited. Dad said power does not need to rush, it only needs to be clear. He said people who yell usually do not have control. People who wait usually do. That stuck with me. When we reached the hotel, Mom tucked Ellie into bed. She fell asleep fast, her face peaceful again. Dad sat on the edge of my bed. He asked if I was okay. I told him I was angry. He nodded, said anger is normal, but what matters is what you do with it. He said kindness does not mean letting people hurt you, and strength does not mean hurting them back. The next morning, we ate breakfast downstairs. Other guests talked loudly, laughed, had no idea what happened the night before. Mom checked her phone. She went still. Then she showed Dad messages, missed calls from Uncle Reed. He wanted to talk. He said he was sorry. He said he did not know. Dad said we would talk later, when things were calmer. As we packed the car, I saw something strange, a black car pulling into the hotel lot. The woman from the party was inside. She did not look shiny. Now she looked scared. She did not get out. She just watched us. Dad started the engine. I asked him what would happen next. He looked at the road, smiled slightly. He said truth keeps moving even when people try to stand still. And as we pulled away, I realized this story was not over. It was only changing direction. Because consequences do not always arrive loudly. Sometimes they follow you quietly. The drive back toward Vermont felt different, not lighter exactly, but clearer. The road stretched ahead, dark and quiet. Trees passed like shadows. Ellie slept the whole way, her breathing slow and steady. Mom watched the window thinking. Dad drove with both hands on the wheel, calm. Like always, I asked what would happen to Uncle Reed. Now, Dad said that depended on choices, not money. He said people confuse comfort with safety. But comfort can disappear fast. Safety comes from knowing who you are when it does. When we stopped for gas, a man recognized Dad. He said, "Hey, are you the writer, the nature guy?" Dad smiled and said yes. That was all. The man had no idea. And that felt important. Back home, the farmhouse creaked like it always does. The porch light flickered. The air smelled like pine and soil. Ellie ran inside first. She kicked off her shoes. She laughed. That laugh felt like winning. The next few days were quiet. School, homework, Normal things, then the calls started. Uncle Reed called, left messages. Long ones, short ones, angry ones, sad ones. Mom listened, did not answer. Dad said some conversations need time to cool like hot metal. One night I overheard them talking after they thought I was asleep. Uncle Reed was losing the house. The woman had moved out, took her clothes, her friends, her plans. She did not want to be seen in smaller places. Dad said he would help Reed, but not with money, with guidance. That part surprised me. Dad said losing everything fake is sometimes the only way to keep what is real. Weeks passed, leaves changed, the world slowed down. Then one afternoon, a truck pulled into our driveway, not fancy, just useful. Uncle Reed stepped out. He looked smaller, tired. Real. Ellie hugged him, no hesitation. He apologized, not loud, not dramatic, just honest. He said he forgot what mattered. He said he forgot us. Dad listened, then nodded. They sat on the porch for a long time, talking quietly. I did not hear everything, but I heard enough. No yelling, no blaming, just truth. That night Uncle Reed slept on the couch. House felt fuller but calmer. Before bed, Dad told me something I will always remember. He said money can rent respect, but it can never buy it. He said the loudest people are usually the least secure. He said the world tests you to see if you know who you are. I lay awake thinking about the house party, the smiles, the silence, and then I realized something. The woman lost everything the moment she believed money made her better. Uncle Reed lost everything the moment he forgot where he came from. But my dad never lost anything at all. And that is when I understood the final lesson was still coming, because not everyone learns the same way and not everyone is finished. Yet Uncle Reed stayed with us for a while, longer than I expected, long enough for habits to change. He woke up early, helped Dad fix the fence, learned how to stack fire wood the right way, not fast right at first. He kept checking his phone like something might call him back. But nothing did. The silence taught him more than any speech. One night, he asked Dad why he never told anyone who he really was, why he let people think he was just a writer. Dad said labels are dangerous. People stop seeing you once they think they understand you. He said power works best when it does not announce itself. That stuck with me. School went on, life went on. Then one afternoon, I saw something online, a photo from that mansion. The house was for sale, not quietly, public, reduced price, urgent. The comments were full of guessing, rumors. None of them knew the truth. Ellie asked if the woman would come back. Mom said no. Some people only love reflections, not reality. Uncle Reed eventually moved into a small place near by, nothing fancy but solid. He got quieter, kinder. He came to my games. He asked Ellie about her books. He listened one evening. He said something that surprised me. He said losing the house was the best thing that ever happened to him. He said he finally slept. Dad smiled, not proud, just satisfied. Before bed that night, I asked Dad if people ever learn without losing things. He thought for a moment. He said some do, but most need mirror to break first. I looked around our house, the worn floors, the simple walls, the warmth. I understood. Then the mansion was never the point. The party was never the point. The money was never the point. The point was dignity. And choosing it. People think strength looks loud, big, expensive, but real strength is quiet, patient, unmoving. I am 12 years old, and I learned something most adults never do, that the most powerful people in the room are usually the ones no one notices until it is too late, and somewhere out there someone is still laughing too loud, standing in borrowed light, believing the house they stand in belongs to them for now, because truth always comes home eventually.